Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and hopefully this won't be a very long video. I don't want to go too in depth with this because it is a situation that has affected me quite a bit emotionally and mentally. And also I'm aware that this situation is like a week old, and I'm just now kind of talking about it. It's something that I've been thinking about and been affected by all week. I've been busy, all that. So I haven't really had time to sit down and film a video. I did a couple of live streams over on Twitch and Twitter I was playing Ocarina of Time Randomizer, and I did talk about the situation a bit. Like, I was just kind of venting because it had kind of affected me a bit just from seeing all the stuff about it. So like I said, I know that the situation is a week old. I just kind of want to get my opinion out there, give my 2 cents, and just firmly state where I fall on this discussion, and just get that out there, and then hopefully after that I don't have to talk about it anymore. But yeah, so as someone who does consider myself like a bit of a music critic, I do talk about music a lot. I feel like I kind of have to say something, even though I feel like a lot of what can be said has already been said, but I digress. So, Travis Scott, the man, the myth, the piece of shit, and where we are now. And so I want to keep in mind that I was someone who, in the past, my opinion on Travis Scott, I had a respect for him as an artist. I liked Sicko Mode. I liked, a couple songs that he made, but I didn't really know anything about him as a person. I didn't really care to know anything about him as a person. He was just this other rapper that I knew existed. I really didn't know. And I was never, a big, super fan of his. I never, listened to his albums or anything. I just, liked a couple songs and just kind of knew he was this rapper. I didn't really... And I don't really think I had quite a grasp, because I'm not really much of a rap fan in general, and I don't really think I had quite a grasp on how big Travis Scott really is, how popular he is, until this incident. I know, Astroworld, the album, was, a big thing, and Sicko Mode was a big thing, and everyone was talking about it, but it was also, 2018, and part of me was okay, I feel like Sicko Mode's probably really big because it's Drake, and, but even though he was uncredited, Drake was, the hot shit, still is, the hot shit, so I kind of saw Drake as being the kind of, person who, made those songs popular. But, I mean, I remember when Travis Scott got, Highest in the Room to #1 just on its own, and I was okay, and just #1 debut. So you can kind of see, how popular he is with, the streaming, the rap, SoundCloud audiences. And the other thing I want to say I've been doing is I've been doing a lot of, research into just, I watched a really good podcast. It's called the New York Times Podcast, and they made a episode on basically the kind of culture of moshing and the hip hop culture, and how that developed into and devolved into what we're seeing today, and talking about how other rappers and that kind of kind of the history of that and how we got here. And I do want to preface this by saying I've never been to a music festival. I've always been to concerts, but never a music festival. I'm going to another show in a month, and it's a stadium. I'm sitting in the stadium, and I am a very very nervous, very claustrophobic person, so I could never really want to see myself being on the floor, being in a pit. I don't think that's fun to me. Now, this is not me saying that people who do find that fun, that that's that's not me trying to say that. But I'm just personally, for me, it's never something that I really wanted to do, and I want to do it even less now. So I don't really have personal experience with this, but I have heard stories from a lot of people who said, well, I've been in mosh pits, I've been in this situation, I've never felt unsafe. When people fall down, you pick them up, and, kind of just, this is not mosh pit culture. This isn't what this is. This is something completely different, and I agree, just from, what I've seen people saying. And, the whole situation is disgusting. So, for those who still somehow haven't heard, about what happened. Basically, Travis Scott, he was headlining a festival called Astroworld, which was his festival, and basically there were 50,000 people there. It was kind of a smallish outdoor venue. The barricades were set up in a very dangerous way, like where they'd be like boxed off and there was like only one way in, there was no way out. And like basically people, this place was oversold. It was sold out, and then people like stormed through the gates, because apparently this is behavior that Travis Scott has encouraged before, is people just like storming, breaking down barriers, getting into the show without tickets, which is so harmful, because the tragedy of what did happen, just like the crowd crush and the like people getting suffocated and stuff, that 8 people did end up dying, which is absolutely horrific, tragic, all that. However, I just, like, I cannot fathom how there was, like, so little concern for safety when we live in the U.S., and, like, there are, like, such strict laws about what you can bring on airplanes, or what you can, like, I don't know, bring into venues. If you go to, like, a historical thing, you gotta get your bags checked, you gotta go through a metal detector. And, and that's, like, how the U.S. is, because there are incidents, like, mass shootings, terrible incidents that happen way too often in the U.S. And our legislature doesn't take control and say, hey, maybe we need to put more regulations on this. Maybe we need to put regulations on who can get firearms, and maybe we need to just, like, and, like, that's something that, but because this stuff is so common in the U.S., and I don't really know if a lot of people who don't live in the U.S. are realizing how awful this is. But, you know, take it out, even if you take out, like, guns and stuff, imagine if there was, like, a bomb threat, or somebody setting off a bomb, because setting off bombs at concerts is something that has happened before. It happened with Ariana's show in Manchester, and it was absolutely horrific. The whole situation was, and, like, something that was, you know, completely out of Ariana's control. I don't know how that person got past security, but, like, it's just it's just horrible. It's horrifying. And, you know, after an incident like that, I would think every show would have, like, incredibly tight security. Every, like, large show or festival. And, I did kind of hear from some people who went in, like, early on. They had their stuff checked, they had their bags checked, they had, like, their vaccine cards, like, everything checked. But later on in the show, people were showing up and they just didn't care. And they were just, like, barely checking people's bags. They were letting people in. And then there were people who just stormed the gates and got in. And I'm like, how is that allowed? Like, obviously the amount of people who died is too many. One person would be too many. Like, this is horrific. However, I have to think, like, the situation could have been so much worse if somebody brought a bomb in there, if you had a live shooter get through security, because there was none. People were just storming the gates. Somebody could have brought a gun and just, like, started shooting people in this, like, cramped space. Like, it's horrific. Like, I just want to be, like, abundantly clear that is, that it could have been so much worse if, just with the lax amount of security, and it's absolutely disgusting. And I think the organizers, everyone there is to blame. The barricade design was horrible. Just, like, the situation in general was absolutely, it was poor planning, it was oversold, it was just, everything about it was horrific. There was, like, a lack of communication between, like, the firefighters, the medics, like, all that shit, and it was just absolute insanity. And, I think Travis Scott, Live Nation, all of those, like, people who, like, organized the event have to take responsibility for this, because it's absolutely horrid, and the planning of the situation was so poor, so horrific, and just, I don't know how, and there's already facing, like, a shit ton of lawsuits, and I hope that, you know, that shit gets settled, and, you know, and I really don't think we should be giving Travis Scott a career at this point, but just like, I don't support, like, cancel culture, but in this case, Travis Scott, he absolutely needs to be canceled. He should not have a career. We should not Because just imagine if you're a family of somebody who was killed in that incident, and then a year from now, Travis Scott's just performing again like nothing ever happened. His fans are still worshiping him and like all that. We can't let that happen. That is horrid. It's disgusting, and we need to put an end to that right now. We need to literally stop giving this guy a platform of any capacity. And it's hard. It's hard. It's absolutely hard. So I don't really know what else I'm supposed to say in terms of like that, but what I am seeing, which is kind of concerning, is I'm seeing a lot of people jump in there and saying, oh, it was satanic, it was demonic, it was whatever, and all that, and like, he's working with the devil, and this is why this happened. It was a ritual sacrifice, and like all this. And to me, I'm just like, that is like so disrespectful of the victims. It's taking accountability away from people who actually need to be given accountability. Like Travis and his team, and, you know, it's taking the accountability away. It's putting the focus onto, like, the devil as, like, whether you see the devil as, like, a person or an entity, whatever. I just, like, I believe there is evil in the world, there is evil in the universe, there is, like, negative energies and all that, but and the people who were feeling their negative energies, there was definitely something up with that, and there was this like almost kind of like ill intent going on, or like just this lack of empathy, this lack of care by even like allowing this to happen. But people who are saying it was a satanic ritual, it was a sacrifice, like that shit is going too far. Like, you can't say that shit and like just like you're taking away from the people who and I'm also seeing it as an excuse for people to be, like, racist, and, like, you know, people are saying, like, oh, they go to metal shows and stuff, and this doesn't happen in, like, the mosh pits, and to me, the issue isn't, like, oh, rappers are bad. The issue is just that Travis doesn't know the, like, ethics of, like, pit culture, and also he has this, like, whole fan base, which is built around the raging and coming in, and there were lots and lots and lots of white people in that audience, so it's definitely not about race. It's not just, oh, all the white metalheads are cool, and then there's a lot of white metalheads who are super toxic as well. So, but people are like bringing race into it, like even if they say satanic stuff, like people always say like, oh, Megan Thee Stallion, Lil Nas X, like all these black artists are the ones who are like working with the devil or something. And I know like Lil Nas X, like that was his whole like marketing thing, but like it was clearly done for marketing. He's not actually like what? Like, I don't understand. And then, like, people say because Megan Thee Stallion's making all this sexual music and shit, it's like, you need to stop. Like, and at the end of the day, like, from all this, the takeaway here, like, Travis Scott is just a piece of shit. Like, I don't care. Like, he's a piece of shit. And, I mean, apparently he has a history of this stuff happening at his concert. Somebody jumped from a balcony and broke both their legs. At one show, he, like, got banned or, like, got arrested at Lollapalooza or something because he, like, was telling people to, like, break down barriers and shit. And, like, the whole thing is just, like, so horrific. And you see that behavior. And you're just, like, it is, like, the least professional thing ever. Like, I'm sorry, an artist caring for their fans in the crowd and, like, making sure that their concert is safe in the first place so shit doesn't happen at all is literally the bare minimum. Like, I don't understand why this shit is so hard. Like, especially if you have money for security. Like, this shit is literally the bare fucking minimum. And I don't understand. I will never understand, especially if you have a large crowd. You have to have security. And people will, like, show this one clip of, like, oh, Travis, like, stopping to, like, help, like, get someone through, like, passed out or something. And, you know, he stopped the show, like, one time, and you know, after that, he goes back, he continues performing, and people are saying, well, he stopped the show, he cared about that, and I'm like, that was, like, one person. Stopping to help one person doesn't really change the outcome of it, does it now? And he performed for, like, 38 minutes or something after it was declared a mass casualty event, and I'm like, how did nobody tell him this? And also, he went to a fucking after party that was hosted by Drake, by the way. Let's not leave Drake out of this, okay? Can we cancel Drake? Like, I'm sorry. Like, what the fuck? Drake was like, I'm gonna have an after party. And, you know, Drake didn't, like, hear what was going on. Like, somebody had to have told. Like, it was so obvious. How did they just go to an after party and not know what was happening? Like, I'm sorry, Drake was just like, okay, cool, we're gonna go, I mean, I'm sure they didn't have, like, fatality numbers yet or anything, but they knew the event was bad, and he's like, you know, I'm just gonna throw an after party. Like, what? Like, I'm sorry, that is so disgusting, and, like, they brought Drake out on stage after it was declared a mass casualty event. Like, that is so horrific, and, like, I'm not, like, blaming Drake for what happened. I mean, he was just there to, like, perform, you know, after all this was, like, happening, but, like, whoever, like, the team, like, the fact that, like, nobody on the team, like, saw what was going on and was like, hey, Drake, don't come out, like, what the fuck, you're just gonna make the crowd crazier. Like, like, they brought Drake out, they literally did that. It's such poor planning, and I do think, you know, for the after party and all that, like, Drake's kind of a piece of shit for this, too, and and all these artists, they feel like they're making, like, things about themselves, or they're trying to be, like, so sincere with, like, I'm so sad about this, blah, 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 blah. Like, their apologies, like, Kylie Jenner acting like she didn't know what the fuck was going on when there's footage of her getting escorted out. Excuse me, she's just a liar. Like, there is literally so much disgusting bullshit, going on here. And, again, it's actually so creepy. There are videos of him, of Travis, just, like, there's, like, one video of, like, an ambulance coming through and, like, somebody getting carried out. And, like, Travis just, like, auto-tune, just singing, like, just not paying attention, like, or he's, like, looking down and, like, just creepily, like, singing, and it's so weird. And in that degree, I can kind of understand why people were spooked, because it is, insanely, it is, like, insanely spooky, and I totally understand why people were so spooked, just from watching footage like that, and it's absolutely horrific. Another thing is just, like I said, it's the bare minimum for shows. There have been so many videos circulating of artists stopping their shows for fans, for something happening. So, I mean, there's a video of Linkin Park, somebody passed out or something happened and they stopped the show and he's like, hold on, we need to get this person help, and then he's like, if somebody falls down, you pick them up. And then there's a video of, Lil Pump, calling for paramedics. Somebody had a seizure in the audience and he started calling for paramedics, and like, people are like, well, like, Lil Pump is not a good person. Like, I don't know enough about him, but like, people are saying he's not a good person, and they're like, the fact that Lil Pump cares more for his fans than Travis Scott, like, that is the bare minimum. You can still be a piece of shit human being and still fucking care for your fans when they're having a seizure. Like, I don't understand. There's a video of Blackpink stopping a show for someone. There's a video of Adele stopping a show, and like, you know, they stop the show and they do not start the show again until they know everything's okay. And in the case of like because if it's just like one person getting carried out, they have to like stop the show until everything's okay. In the case of Travis, everything was not going to be okay, so they should have just canceled the show when it was declared a mass casualty event. Again, there's so many clips of like artists literally going around caring for their fans, stopping the show, saying like, hey, this is fucked up, like, hey, we need to get this person help. There's multiple clips of Billie Eilish, even when she was, like, 16. And then people are basically saying, well, these were, like, smaller crowds, so that's not... And I'm like, okay, Linkin Park had huge-ass crowds. Adele had, like, a crowd of, like, 95,000 in a stadium. And y'all are still thinking that this is an excuse. And, if you've seen the Oasis video, I posted it. I don't know how big that crowd was, but it was most definitely as big or bigger than Travis's crowd. And, they literally, start performing. Well, like, the crowd's, like, absolutely fucking insane. And, like, even before they start performing, and you can tell, like, Noel is concerned about it. And I don't... This is, like, another topic I don't want to, like, get into right now, because I kind of want to come out with my story and all that in the video, but, I don't like Noel Gallagher, to put it, like, very bluntly. I think he's an asshole. And he's also an anti-masker, and, like, that's fucked up. Wear a fucking mask, dude. Like, I don't, like, like, I'm saying, he was saying, like, during, like, before there were vaccines and anything, he was saying, like, he wouldn't wear a mask. Like, wear a fucking mask, dude. That's not the point. But, the fact that he gets out there and is, like, concerned, and he's like, he literally says, like, if someone falls down, you pick them up, like, it's gonna get nuts. And then when the song starts and when they notice there's something wrong with the barrier, and he's like, you all have to, like, back up, and we won't play until they fix this, until they get this sorted out. And the other thing about that video you can see is how good the security was. Like, there's a whole line of security going up, like, hey, back up, back up, back up. And, like, that is just, like, Travis Scott could never. And, just seeing that, it just kind of makes me realize, like, you can, like, even if you're not necessarily a good person or a nice person, I mean, people are saying Lil Pump, like, even Lil Pump cared for his fans. Like, what? Like, it just why are we here? Like, it's so horrible and horrific, and I really, really hope that nothing like this ever happens again. I really hope that the security is greatly improved in the future. That's all I can really say on the matter, but, like, yeah, I don't really know what else I'm supposed to say. Anyway, again, this whole situation is horrible. Rest in peace to the people who did pass away, and I hope that their families can find some sort of peace and comfort. It's just such an awful, awful, horrid situation that never should have happened, and, I really hope that shows in the future that they can prevent this type of issue from ever coming up again. And if it does, that the artist will actually notice and try to sort out what's going on. And again, this is just absolutely horrible, and as a music fan, this is something that really, like, kind of hurt me to see, and I just saw so many videos of it on TikTok. It kind of messed me up mentally, if I'm honest. So, there's not really much else I can really add to the conversation, but yeah, Travis is at fault. We should cancel him. And just, I don't even know, man. Just, yeah, it's absolutely horrible. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon, and I hope you guys, I shouldn't say I hope you've enjoyed the video, because this isn't an enjoyable video in any capacity, but, if you are interested in my videos, you can click the subscribe button, and I will see you all soon. I know this was a very serious video, but it needed to be said, so, yeah.